Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Here is an article I came across. It's from the South Philly Review. It says Cardella, the Black Italians, right? And I'm just gonna jump to the second paragraph of this article, of this man that wrote this article here. It's an Italian man. But just to, make the point that Israel, the so-called Negroes, all right, was spread all throughout the planet Earth, man. Their seed, all right, and Italian Sicilians and Italians, Southern Italians and Italians in general have a mixture of Jake blood in them. Bro, Jake is up in there. A lot of them go back to the children of Israel, which the so-called Negro, all right, tribes are the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is what you call today so-called African American, Haitian, and West Indian. Listen, we were ruling in Europe, man. All right, you had the Moorish Empire, man. The Moorish Empire was nothing but so-called black men that followed Islam, all right, and they conquered a lot of Europe. They conquered southern Italy, all of it. They went to the gates of Rome, man. They went even further than Rome, all right. So they conquered a lot of Italy. They held the whole of Spain for over 700 years, 700 plus years. So we had Esau in slavery at that time. So we were doing a lot of mingling with Edomite women. We were popping them and we were having seeds with them. All right. But I'm gonna read this here because this truth is coming out more and more. Who the children of Israel are, and the fact that the seed of Israel is mingled throughout the planet Earth, man. That truth is coming out more and more, man. All right, and I'm going to read this here. It says, as a second generation Italian American, my personal struggle was recently brought home by an article a friend forwarded me from the New York Times. The article, How Italians Became White by Brent Staples, details a fact often conveniently overlooked by members of my own ethnic group. Italian American immigrants suffered from some of the same prejudices against African Americans. Much of that prejudice was based on skin color. Less acknowledged is that Italians themselves discriminated against darker skinned members of their own ethnic group. I experienced that within my own family. So he's telling you that, basically even within his own family, the darker shaded Italians, they get cursed out by their family, by their own family, their own blood, which is nothing but the curses, man. It's even among among so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, there's that whole black and dark skin and light skin thing, which is all bullshit. We're all the same people. But that's them curses, man. But it goes to show you that in this world, because Esau, the so-called white man, which is the seeds of Esau, have gotten the power of this world, everyone favors that look. But you see, the Lord's slowly crushing that with this truth, man, because he's revealing what's really going on, man. All right, so I'm gonna keep reading this here. That's ingrained in the mentality of the people throughout the planet Earth, man. All right, through 2/3 of Jake, they got that mentality, man. I'm gonna keep reading this anyway. It says most Italian Americans my age can remember that much was made over which area of Italy your parents, or in my case, my grandparents, were born. My mother and father, though born in America, proudly identified themselves with areas of the old country. Though blue-eyed with blonde hair, my mother with a pale complexion often boasted that she was Napolitano from Naples. She pronounced it Napolitan. My father, who was dark-skinned, boasted that he was Sicilian, or Sigi, soft G. Mum often insisted that her origins were superior. Dad mostly just listened. Mum claimed that Sicilians were at the bottom of the racial ladder among Italians. They had no culture. Does that not sound familiar? Is that not the same stereotype that's on the so-called black man? Because the so-called Negro, he's looked down upon in this world, and that curse is slowly being lifted off of us. But predominantly in this world, we're looked down upon, right? And what do people say? That the so-called Negro ain't got no culture, when it's far from that. That the children of Israel, that the culture of the so-called black man in America and Hispanics and Native Americans is the Bible, all right? The laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave unto Moses to give unto the children of Israel, man, because we're the Israelites. But listen to this, that's the curses, man. So his mum was she looked more like an Edomite, pretty much, and his dad looked more darker flesh, and because he was darker of flesh and from Sicily, they knew that, they're the lowest of the totem pole of the country pretty much, and they're no people. That's what they were calling them. All right, even among their own kind. So it says they had no culture. She claimed, unlike Napolitanos, they were dirty and ignorant gangsters. Even and isn't that what they say? Isn't that the stereotype of the so-called black man? He's a criminal. If you see a black man, hold your purse. So this is the same thing that happens to Sicilians or darker flesh Italians, because they have, they go under the curses like the so-called black man. Maybe not as heavy at some points, but they do suffer the same curses, man. All right. Because the curses are upon Israel, but some people just catch it worse than others, man. All right. So it says gangsters even dangerous, and with their dark skin they might as well be black. But there you go. It says the New York said with their dark skin. That's what his mom used to say to his father. With your dark skin, you might as well be black, as in because he's Sicilian. I mean that says it all, man. All right. The New York Times reveals that Mom's attitude was the prevailing new view of Sicilians at that time in America. Sicilians were the black Italians. I'm pretty sure that Dad identified himself as Sicilian, even though only his father was from that region of Italy, because he liked the aura of danger that came with it. He thought it made him more interesting. Friends tell me that the same discussions were occurring at that time in their own households, so within their so-called Italian American community. He's darker skin. The darker skin Italian was looked down upon more because their bloodline goes back to us. But even the more fairer skin ones, guess what? Their bloodline, they got black blood in them, Israelite blood in them. And that goes for many people throughout the planet Earth, man. But it's just with certain people, it's just more obvious. Like with Sicilians, it's more obvious when you look at them and you see a dark skinned Italian. You can tell that, that dude's got, more than likely, he's got Jake blood in him, man. You see? So anyway, I'm going to keep reading this and I'm going to get the scriptures. It says, the irony, friends tell me that the same discussions were occurring at the time in their own households. The irony is that mom and dad and many others who debated the superiority of their ethnic and racial origins never saw Italy in their own lifetimes. To a young kid growing up, the argument seemed comically absurd, a joke, but in retrospect, they were also an indication of how deep racial prejudice ran. What mom and others didn't realize was that her disparagement of Sicilians mirrored the attitude of white America toward the entire group of immigrant Italians that poured into this country. Incidents of violence against Sicilians in America bear a distinct resemblance to those that were perpetrated against blacks in the South. Even today, Americans of Sicilian descent are often stereotyped as mafioso, while The Godfather is revered as a film classic. Even by Italians, it has also reinforced the image of Sicilian Americans as one big crime family. Mom's attitude about Sicilians lives on. A sad fact, yes, ingrained in her head. A sad fact of American history is that once a group is accepted, well, pretty much, we can read this here. You can read it, but there's other things in here that he goes into. It's a pretty dope article, Tom Cardella. You can check it out. But that was the point. The point is really that he was saying, I think that's the dude right there too, Tom Cardella. He's of Sicilian descent, all right, through his father, which was more of a darker skinned man, all right. But what he's basically going into is pretty much, the fact that when the Sicilians came to America, all right, they were looked down upon and they were even lynched, just like the so-called Negro. And he's even comparing what happened to the so-called Negro as the same thing that happened to Sicilians. And why is that all of this was going on? That's why people don't want to accept. Well, pretty much because Esau, the so-called white man's in the rulership seat, people want to side with that look, basically. It's like when we tell people that the Lord Yahushua is a so-called black man, people don't want to accept that. They want to accept the white Jesus because that's in their head. They think that's the image of purity. But you're far from, the truth, because everything in this world has been turned upside down, man. All right. I mean, that's the article. You can check it out. But pretty much, man, a lot of them Sicilians are Negroes, man. They're Israelite descent, man. All right. A lot of Italians in general, southern and northern, but obviously a lot of southern predominantly, man. But look, if you look at this girl here, she's from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I mean, watched the show, but I was checking stuff out and I came across her, and she's of Sicilian descent. And if you look at her, she looks like a straight up black woman, man. Her name is something Georgia, something like that, but something like that. But you can see she looks like a straight up black woman, man. All right, but she's of Italian descent. I believe Sicilian, you know. So and she's one of many, millions. Israel's seed is everywhere, man. The seed of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American is among all people, man. All right. So I'm gonna get this here. This is Jeremiah. Well, actually, I started Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Deuteronomy 28 and 64. It says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these people," it says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind." Yeah, so that's the curse that was put upon the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, that we were going to be spread among all people, man. That's a curse that was going to be upon the Israelites. He was going to scatter our seed, man. And we are scattered in loads of Europe, in a lot of Spain, a lot of Italy, a lot of Europe in general. Our people are scattered, man. And they're catching the same curses too, man. They've got the curses on them too. Sorrow of eyes, they from broken homes. So you got to be spiritual, man. You're gonna have someone that is catching the same curses as you, all right, as a straight up Jake in America, but he's living in Naples, but he's catching the same. I mean, when you check out Naples, man, one of the worst housing estates is in Naples. I forgot the name of it now, man, but it's one of the poorest places in Europe is in Naples, man. So you're gonna have a hell of a lot of Jakes there, and their families are strung out on drugs, poor, high crime rates. So that's what the Lord did. The Lord scattered thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, man. And our people, wherever the hell we're scattered, the majority of our people are bugged out, man. They believe in white Jesus. They believe in Islam. They believe in all manner of philosophies, man. All right? They believe in all sorts, man. All right? So I'm going to get this here. Jeremiah, this is Jeremiah 12 and 9. Jeremiah 12, verse 9. It says, "Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round," and that's really the point I wanted to read. Jeremiah 12 and 9, all right? "Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird." So meaning that the children of Israel, all right, the heritage of the Lord, which is the Israelites, all right? That's the point right there. "The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour." So the point I wanted to get is the heritage. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird, meaning the Israelites are going to come and looking like all sorts of shades, colors, even looking like straight up Chinese people, man. Straight up Japanese people. But they're Israelites. Their lineage goes back to Israel, man. Now, the funny thing is, like with Sicilians and stuff like that, you can see when someone kind of looks like a Jake, you got a mix in him and stuff, or she's got a mix in her, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Right. But then you got people that you can't even tell the difference. You can't tell. You think that there's a straight up white boy, or you think that's a straight up Moabite, but it's not. It's an Israelite, man. See, so the Lord's the Lord's heritage has been mingled. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. So the Lord's mingled his heritage everywhere, man. All right, that's why Yahushua is coming to bring the separation with the holy angels, man. He's going to separate who's an Israelite and who isn't. You see? But this truth's coming out, man. But I just came across that stuff with the Southern Italians, Sicilians and stuff, and Calabrese and all these, Southern Italians, right? And a lot of them are Israelites, man. All right? But they're just in denial, man. But that's what it is. A lot of them are in denial, but then a lot of them admit that they have black blood in them. But The reason why they don't want to admit it in this world is because we're looked down upon, man. So-called Negroes are looked down upon in this world. So-called Hispanics, Native Americans, looked down upon in this world, man. We're not in the power seat. So they want to side with Esau. And you've got even our own people, even straight up Jakes, side with Esau in this world, man. All right? They side with the so-called white man, you know? That's just what it is. But guess what? When we get the power back, man, when the Lord Yahweh comes and gives these people, us, the power back, the hopeful elect, man, when you get power, everyone is going to want to be on your side, man. That's how it works, man. All right, the scriptures say in the Psalms, man, 110, it says, in the day of thy power, thy people shall be willing. Meaning what? When the Lord raises up his hopeful elect, guess what? Jakes are going to be wanting to get down with it then. You know? So that's just what it is, man. This is Revelation 7 and 9. It says, after this I behold, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. All right? All right? Meaning what? So, this is a revelation that John the Revelator got. But he said, look, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and peoples and tongues. So people from all over the earth, all right, were gathered together, man. But they were Israelites from among the other nations. But it says, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues. I mean, so they spoke all different languages. They spoke Italian, they spoke Japanese, they spoke Chinese, they spoke Cantonese. But guess what? They were Israelites, man. They were Israelites among those nations that we were scattered, man. Because remember, going back to the curses, we were scattered among all people. So when John the Revelator saw this vision, he saw the Israelites that were scattered, gathered back together, man. And it says, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And the Lord ain't going to clothe no damn heathens with white robes, all right? That's for the Israelites, because white represents purity, man. It represents purity, all right? And you have to be pure to stand before Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, man. That's why we're hoping we're going to get delivered in these last days before our Lord, man. All right, but part of the truth is what? That you're going to have people that are in these other nations that are going to receive salvation also, man. You know? So Israel has been scattered, man, throughout the four corners of the earth. And that's just part of the truth, all right? So, and they're going to receive their salvation. The Israelite foreigners, the Lord's going to bring them back into the fold also, all right? And you've got brothers that are Sicilians in this faith teaching, man, So, with that, I'm just going to, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakab Kodash. Shalom.